You know what? I bet you there's a lot of Africans that if they hadn't have been brought over, not saying it was right, don't misunderstand, not justifying the slavery in the situation, but God, I still believe, used it. And now I'm sure there's a lot of Africans that got the gospel, and they're in heaven right now because they got the gospel. You know, what would be better? For them to have lived their entire life in Africa free, doing their voodoo or whatever, and then dying and going to hell, right? Or what happened? And then they go to heaven. They get the opportunity. Now again, it doesn't justify it. The ends do not justify the means, but this is how God works. This is what God does in the Bible. And we have black people in here. I don't think any of you guys were ever slaves. I was never a slave. It's like, white privilege. You were never a slave. You were never living during the time, unless you're very old, like 60 or 70 maybe, or 80 years old, you're never even living during the time where segregation was a thing in this country. I mean, what are you crying about? Nothing even happened to you. You're just making up stuff. You can't look at the facts that I was reading and just attribute that to some kind of white privilege. It's not real. Get over it. Quit having all the excuses. Why don't you take some responsibility for your choices? Be content with whatever situation you were born into and make the most of it.
Snakewood Net Hustle. Big shout out to SPI, Spotter Low. I'm in the black box. Had to come through, tap in, show love one time. Yeah, y'all make sure y'all subscribe. Stay tuned. All that.
Juice has some lessons in it. For one, keep your enemies close, watch your homies. You never know what to expect from somebody. But my boys say we always missing the hidden messages in these movies. So we finna see what it tried to warn us about that we may have let slip by. So with no further ado, let's see what the cast of Juice has been up to.
Juice taught you how chasing power can cost everything. Juice isn't just another 90s hood classic. It's a full-blown warning. A story about power, pressure, and what happens when a young man loses his grip on reality. Now here's the thing. People remember Juice for Tupac's chilling performance as Bishop, but buried inside all the chaos and tension are real-life lessons no one's talking about. Lessons on leadership, on toxic ambition, on how fear masks itself as power, and why choosing peace over ego might be the hardest thing a man can do. So in this video, we're breaking down the game, pulling out the core messages that Juice try to leave behind before the credits roll. If you're a fan of stories that hit deeper the second time around, or if you've ever questioned what it really means to have the juice, this one's for you. Let's talk about the real reasons Juice still matters and what it's trying to teach you before it's too late. Lesson 1. The allure of respect without substance. In Juice, Bishop doesn't just want power, he wants reverence. But he doesn't earn it through wisdom or leadership. He buys a gun, believing that fear will earn him the same kind of respect he sees in gang leaders around him. When the group decides to rob a convenience store, Bishop insists on carrying the gun, and during the robbery, he impulsively shoots and kills the store clerk. That moment flips the dynamic. Instead of power, Bishop inherits paranoia and a fractured group.
Bishop and O-Dog, one of a kind, different coast.
His version of respect, built on fear, unravels the second things go wrong. This is exactly what happens when a leader tries to control through intimidation. People might obey temporarily, but that authority is thin. It doesn't build loyalty, and it doesn't hold when crisis hits. Leadership in business that relies on fear may seem effective at first, but it discourages creativity, honesty, and trust. Teams don't feel safe to speak up. People stop offering feedback. The organization becomes a place where silence replaces truth. And when problems grow, no one feels responsible enough to step in. The difference between real influence and performative power is depth.
I'd rather be feared than loved with a pocket full of doves, cause gangsters make the world go round.
Real influence can survive pressure. Bishop had the illusion of respect, but when his authority was tested, it collapsed, and he collapsed with it. If you're building a business or leading a team, don't chase fear-based respect. Earn trust through clarity, consistency, and shared values. People don't follow fear for long. They follow direction, vision, and integrity. Bishop never had that, and the power he did have never stood a chance. Lesson 2. The cost of false alignment. Q always had a clear dream. He loved music and wanted to become a DJ. That dream finally got a real shot when he was selected to compete in a local DJ battle. But instead of focusing on his passion, Q let his friends pull him into something else. They were planning a robbery, and they wanted him involved. Bishop played the biggest role in pressuring him, using emotional guilt and group loyalty to convince him.
I'm in the DJ competition, toasting to the good life. Bishop on that bullshit, trying to pull me back, right?
Q eventually agreed, not because he believed in the plan, but because he didn't want to disappoint the group. That single decision changed everything. This is what happens when a person allows external noise to override internal direction. It's the business equivalent of abandoning a clear mission to chase a shiny opportunity. It might feel justified in the moment, but the cost always shows up later. Q gave up his purpose for peer approval, and what he got in return was regret, danger, and disillusionment. In business, it's easy to shift direction because of investor pressure, popular trends, or groupthink. But when you drift from your original purpose, you lose what made you valuable in the first place. And sometimes, the damage is permanent. Successful people and companies have one thing in common. They know what they stand for, and they defend that purpose even when it's unpopular. Q had that, but he gave it up for people who didn't value it. False alignment never lasts. If you're not chasing your own goals, you're helping someone else chase theirs. Choose wisely, because one wrong step, one poorly aligned decision can turn potential into pain. Lesson 3.
Trouble be so easy to get into, but yet so hard to get out of. Facts.
Shortcuts escalate risk. In the beginning, Q and his friends were just skipping school and stealing a few records. It seemed small, harmless, and even funny to them. But when Bishop introduced a gun into the picture, everything changed. What began as low-level mischief turned into a plan for armed robbery. The robbery spiraled out of control. Bishop shot and killed the store owner, then later shot Raheem, one of his own best friends. In less than a day, a shortcut to street respect led to murder, betrayal, and the collapse of every relationship they had. This is what shortcuts really do. They don't solve problems. They delay them and make
Man, I told y'all the shortcut is the long way. That's another way to say it, like how he said it.
them worse. In business, taking the easy way out can look like cutting corners on quality, skipping due diligence, or ignoring ethics for faster profits. It might work once, but every time you make that decision, you increase the risk of collapse. Shortcuts don't just create mistakes, they create habits. And those habits build systems where problems get buried, accountability fades, and people stop asking questions. Eventually, the shortcut becomes the norm, and when it finally breaks, the cost is always higher than expected. Bishop thought the gun would give them power. What it gave them was chaos. He wanted to skip the hard work of earning respect, but nothing lasting is ever built that way. The same applies to any business. If your foundation is flawed, no amount of speed or confidence will save you. Take the long road, do it right, because every corner you cut adds weight to a collapse you might not see coming. Lesson 4. Toxic leadership silences dissent and spurs collapse. As Bishop gains confidence from committing violent acts, his behavior shifts into full control mode. He no longer wants to talk things through or hear feedback. When Q and Steele show signs of discomfort or disagreement, Bishop reacts with intimidation. He even kills Raheem the moment he tries to stop him. After that, nobody feels safe enough to speak up again. Fear replaces friendship, and Bishop becomes more isolated, paranoid, and dangerous. This type of leadership exists in real life too. Toxic leaders often confuse fear with respect. They silence opposing views, remove people who disagree, and take criticism as betrayal. At first, it might look like things are running smoothly because no one is pushing back, but behind the silence, trust is falling apart and people are mentally checking out. In any organization, whether it's a startup or small team, leaders who kill feedback also kill innovation. Without disagreement, there's no second opinion. No one challenges risky decisions. The leader becomes trapped in their own perspective, and everyone else feels like they're walking on eggshells. The result? Collapse. Just like in Juice, where Bishop ends up alone and self-destructive, businesses built on fear eventually fall. Smart teams build systems where it's safe to question decisions. They encourage healthy debate, regular feedback, and honesty, even when it's uncomfortable. You don't need yes men to grow. You need brave people who tell the truth. Lesson 5. Trust is a team's currency. At the start of Juice, Q, Raheem, Steele, and Bishop are like brothers. They skip school together, run from the cops, and talk about music and dreams. But once the crew commits a robbery and Bishop kills the store owner, their bond starts to crack. Bishop becomes paranoid, fearing anyone who might turn him in. He lies to investigators, hides evidence, and tries to blame Q for the murders. Eventually, he even threatens Steele, one of his closest friends. What's happening here is a complete breakdown of trust. The group once operated like a team, relying on each other. But after one person chooses lies over honesty and power over unity, everything falls apart. No one knows who to trust, and no one feels safe. In the end, what held them together is gone. In business, trust is not a soft value. It's the glue that holds teams together. Without it, collaboration dies. Deadlines are missed, projects fail, and finger-pointing takes over. When trust disappears, even the most talented teams stop performing well. People start hiding mistakes, working in silos, or quitting altogether. The lesson is simple. Protect trust at all costs. It's not about liking each other. It's about following through on promises.
At all costs, you got to keep your circle way smaller. They was too deep. Oh, my mama. You should only be too deep. Any more than too deep is usually too deep.
Being honest even when it's hard, and showing loyalty in tough times. Just like Q, who refuses to lie even when it puts him at risk, strong team members protect truth and integrity. They understand that trust is earned daily through small actions. You can't fake it. You build it by showing up, staying honest, and doing what you said you'd do. That's how great teams are built. Lesson 6. Integrity under pressure signals true strength. As Bishop spirals into violence and obsession, Q faces a hard choice. He's afraid. Bishop has a gun. The police are asking questions. His friends are dying. For a moment, Q even buys a gun himself, thinking maybe he needs to fight back with force. But then, something powerful happens. He throws the gun into the East River. He chooses not to be like Bishop. He chooses not to let fear or anger control him. That moment says everything about who Q really is. Even under intense pressure, when he could have justified fighting violence with violence, he steps back. He decides to handle the situation with courage and self-control. He refuses to lie to the police. Even though telling the truth could get him into trouble, he refuses to compromise his values. This is integrity in action, and in real life, it's one of the most important qualities any leader or professional can have. Integrity doesn't mean being perfect. It means doing the right thing when it's hard. It means staying honest when no one's watching. It means choosing the longer, harder path when shortcuts look easier. Many people can lead during easy times, but your real strength shows up when things get messy, when you're stressed, scared, or tempted. That's when people are watching. That's when your values are tested. In business and in life, reputation matters, but character matters more. Anyone can gain followers through intimidation or manipulation, but people only follow with loyalty when they trust your values. Q walks away from Bishop's path, and even though he ends up alone, he walks away with his integrity intact. That's not weakness, that's strength. Lesson 7. When crisis hits, act fast but stay grounded. The rooftop scene is wild. Q and Bishop face off for the last time, and for a moment, you think Q might actually try to save him. But Bishop had every chance to stop, every chance to turn back, and he didn't take a single one. So when he slips, Q lets go. It's not cold-blooded, it's clarity. The chaos ends with Bishop falling to his death and Q walking away. Not proud, not relieved, just done. Here's the playbook. In leadership, sometimes you're forced into hard calls. When someone on the team becomes toxic, divisive, or dangerous to the whole, you can't stall. You have to act. But here's the catch. Action without control causes more harm. You don't swing blindly. You calculate the move. You think of who's watching. You protect the bigger picture. Removing toxic energy, whether it's a rogue exec, a broken system, or a sabotage-prone coworker, must be surgical. The goal isn't revenge, it's restoration. Think of how companies restructure after a scandal. The cleanup must happen, but it has to be clean, decisive, ethical, and mindful of the people who stay behind. Q walked away scarred, but still standing. He didn't become Bishop, and that's what matters. Lesson 8. Reputation means nothing if you've got no soul. Bishop's gone, the chaos is over, and as Q walks off, some guy looks at him and goes, "Yo, you got the juice now, man." It's supposed to sound like a win, but Q just looks at him, half smirks, and walks away. That one line hits hard, because Q knows what it costs to get here, and he wants no part of that fake crown. Let's break it down. Juice in the streets is power, respect, fear. But what's the point of all that if it's built on lies, violence, or stepping on people's necks? That's not real leadership. That's performance. And eventually, the mask slips. In the business world, it's the same story. Some leaders chase clout, fancy titles, shiny press. But behind the scenes, the team is miserable. The product sucks. The vision is lost. That's not juice. That's noise. The leaders who actually last, the ones people trust, follow, and remember, they build slow. They build real. They create systems that work, teams that thrive, and results that speak for themselves. That's the difference between hype and legacy. Q didn't want fake praise. He didn't want to wear Bishop's crown. He just wanted peace, purpose, and truth. And that's where the real juice is. So, after all the violence, the betrayal, and that haunting final shot, what's juice really about? It's not just about getting power. It's about what you're willing to become in order to keep it, and whether or not you lose yourself in the process. Bishop had the juice, but he had no peace. Q, on the other hand, walked away with his soul intact. That's not weakness, that's strength. So here's the real question. What's more important to you? Respect or peace of mind? Would you rather be feared or trusted? Think about it, because in a world that praises clout and status, choosing character over ego is the real rebellion. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Did juice hit you differently this time around? Will it?
Look, hey, well if it's on and it's on, I'm laid back, stacking, blowing the reef, feet, cotton Louis protected with a freak in the seat. Benji Frankie stay in my vision, even more when I'm sleep. I count the bands when I count these sheep. I'm in the streets, switching lanes on the 4Gs while posseing out the paper plate. The licks what my niggas was playing, call it the great escape. Friends nowadays, they ain't loyal like how they used to be. And you ain't really real like you saying, nigga, you used to be. If he your folks, then he my folks, that's just how we roll. If he ain't, then he ain't mine, now let's get super blow. I be dipping, I be rolling, I be smoking, I be sipping. With the turn up to the ceiling, off the turn up, yeah, I feel it. Fake friends, I don't do it, tell them niggas they can kill it, yeah. So if ever my niggas need me, I be there in the flash to get the bags out the stash for that all black rag. Now if that ain't your nigga, then he ain't my nigga. And if you my nigga, you should know we don't do that lame shit, never. I'm a friend, my nigga, and that's something that my niggas all should know. Well, if that ain't your nigga, then he ain't my nigga. And if you my nigga, you should know we don't do that lame shit, never. I'm a friend, my nigga, and that's something that my niggas all should know.
Hopping out on feet, aiming at the enemy, squeezing. Little Hennessy or Remy, all I need for a reason. Quarterback for years, I did plenty receiving. Now I'm coaching while approaching my 20th season. Every turn I get, I leave the mic in a tourniquet. Tonight might light the roof on fire, let it burn a bit. Don't dance, never did the Dougie or the Nay-Nay, no romance. Neighborhoods love me, I'm a nay-nay. I'm way more proactive than a lot of these cats. Not only that, me and Woodrow know how to react. Death before dishonor on sites, never see me run since BB guns. In the streets with PP sons, Eastside dumb. In case you're wondering where I'm from, 197, 971, SPI, fly crippin' to the day that he died. R.I.P. to J.R. and Baby B.I.
Well, if that ain't your nigga, then he ain't my nigga. And if you my nigga, you should know we don't do that lame shit, never. I'm a friend, my nigga, and that's something that my niggas all should know. Well, if that ain't your nigga, then he ain't my nigga. And if you my nigga, you should know we don't do that lame shit never. I'm a friend, my nigga, and that's something that my niggas all should know.
Why are you louder than me? Why are you louder than me? It's out of order. It's out of order. I was putting up with it for a little while, but it's out of order. If I'm the one praying, nobody should be praying or be speaking in tongues over me. That's called order. And we should know better than that.
Wasn't that possible? Big shout out to SPI, spotter low. You know, I'm in the black box, had to come through, tap in, show love one time. Yeah, y'all make sure y'all subscribe. Stay tuned, all that.